Hello world! I'm sorry for making this video, but it has to be made. I would like to go back to my regular content of having positive things to do, hopefully involving trains and stuff, but this video needs to be made just like the last video needed to be made. The last video was my raw, immediate reaction to the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and this video is my elaborative thoughts since I've had basically all night because it was a very turbulent moment, and we all stayed up late looking at things on the internet about it and stuff and trying to watch all the footage. So these are my quick retractions about the last video and my thoughts going forward. The retractions are I should not have been as fair as I was to the left. I shouldn't have played that I'm the middle ground, therefore I'm good game, because that game has been moving steadily as the left increases their acts of violence. The most right-wing extreme person you can think of, the person who is sharing all the hate and stuff. I have looked up from left-wing viewpoints, cut videos of Charlie Kirk's worst moments, times he failed, times he couldn't debate well, times he supported violence, ignorance, and racism by your standards. And what I found is that he is one of the most agreeable people you could ever be around. Or he was one of the most agreeable people. I would feel perfectly safe as an atheist, as someone who supports gay marriage, as someone who even supports the existence of transgender individuals. I would feel perfectly safe sitting right next to this man, fill a room with all of his supporters, and have me as the sole person debating against him. I would not only feel safe, I would feel heard, and I would feel respected. Put me in a room of 5 leftists, I don't feel safe. Random, casual leftists, I don't feel safe. You got on the internet and you supported the death of this man. You loudly declared that we were happy. You loudly said, "We shot him in the neck. We shot him in the neck." You're all disgusting. You're a perversion of humanity. You're not Americans. I don't know what you are. But it's atrocious. So I will no longer treat the left with that level of reservation as though I'm trying to not offend some of them. If you find yourself calling yourself a Democrat, a leftist wing wong, that side of person, you are supporting violence, you are supporting actual violence, the stuff that impacts, the stuff that shoots, the stuff that cuts, the stuff that murders. That is the side you're on. And if you're on the right, you might have had your problems in the past, but I'll call you out when you do something wrong, but it's just not there for me to point at anymore. So I'm only pointing one way, not the other from now on. I will retract the fairness I treated the left with. I should not have treated them with that reservation of fairness. So the preservation of their feelings should not have been important to me. What should have been important is the loss of life, the attack on liberty, and the loss of many people's happiness. That should have been important to me. So I'll retract that. I will reaffirm my support of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. May we forever be protected under its words, and may current violations of the Bill of Rights be eventually removed from law, and that includes all restrictions on firearms of a ridiculous nature. May that include all of the restrictions on free speech. May that include all the restrictions on all of our freedoms that were well laid out in this book. If the state has it, I should have it. That's how guns work. If I'm allowed to say it, everyone else is allowed to say it. That's how the freedom of speech works, and so on and so forth with all of them. No, you can't enter my home to check on my safety. You can't come up with excuses to violate this anymore. It needs to stop. It needs to stop across the board in all 50 states. My apologies for the jump cut. I was having camera troubles. I would also like to retract my use of a toy gun on camera. I realize now that this is supporting the ideals of gun control, that guns are unsafe, that guns are special and magic and all that crap, and that we can't be safe with them. And nope, I will not support that anymore. I will not support the irrational brain inside of us all. So I won't bow down anymore. Real gun, on camera. I did it before on YouTube, why not do it now? Why not do it on this channel? I have no fear. This is a real gun. It is an AR-15, also known as an Armalite rifle. Armalite being AR, 15 being the 15th patent design. And it has got a 60-round drum magazine. Despite the shooting, I do not support any restrictions of normal people to have weaponry. If the government has it, we should have it. End all be all. Some people disagree with that. That's because they are sexually or emotionally immature and frustrated. There is something fundamentally wrong with them because they're okay with someone having it as long as they feel like that someone is not after them, but would also like level the playing field for them. They think that some magical person is going to have this for them only. And they think that the threat will be disarmed, but they won't be disarmed. It's illogical, childish thinking. So, real gun. All restrictions of the Second Amendment should be removed, including the restriction that prevents this from being turned into a pistol with a proper stock on it, like an SBR. That's for the use so that women may have a shorter barreled rifle for their own personal defense. That is specifically to bar women from having guns. All Second Amendment bullcrap that restricts guns based on weird limitations like whether or not the safety is located on it that have nothing to do with it, all of it should be removed. If the government can have it, I should have it. Simple as that. My apologies again. Filmora is giving me a lot of trouble. Lastly, I looked at my comments and I saw people saying this man should not be a martyr. Well, if you didn't want him to be a martyr, you wouldn't support violence. If you didn't want him to be a martyr, you wouldn't have killed him. If you didn't want him to be a martyr, you could have just left him to speak, but now he's dead and he can't speak for himself, so martyrdom is inevitable. It is what he should be in order for his voice to continue to carry on past his death. So yes, he is a martyr now. Whether or not you like that, no one cares. He is now a martyr. The tree of liberty has been watered with the blood of a patriot. His blood, Charlie Kirk's blood, has now watered the tree of liberty. Where's the tyrant? If you on the left support the ideals of liberty, then why don't you help us find the tyrant? Find the tyrants in your own community. Find the people who are trying to use the government to silence others. I'm not saying go and murder them or whatever, but how about you stop protecting them? Stop endorsing them. Stop celebrating them. Stop dancing in the streets because someone you dislike died. Stop supporting acts of political violence. We need to find the person that killed Charlie Kirk, and we need to place him in jail. He needs to be tried to the fullest extent of the law. And as soon as we've established him through the entire system which guarantees his human rights, I'm a person who is firmly against the death penalty. I do not believe the government can be trusted with the death penalty. But in this circumstance, knowing the attack that they were trying to commit, and knowing the far extenuating circumstances of what he was trying to do, because it goes beyond just killing Charlie Kirk. One man is not really all that important, but when you're very clearly trying to disrupt the foundational ideas of our country, when you're trying to silence an entire movement's voice in order to disrupt how things work, you're trying to destroy this. And any attempt at trying to destroy the U.S. Constitution should be met with force. So they need to be executed. The tree of liberty will be watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots alike. And all of us will prosper under its shade. All of us. You know, I didn't ask Charlie Kirk to die for my freedoms, but he just did. I didn't want Charlie Kirk to die for my freedoms, but he just did. I don't know what else to tell you. And I know I said some hyperbole stuff in the last video. I know I went a little, in a tangenty. But nothing I say in that video is truly something I regret at all, nor would it ever be. My only regrets are the fairness, the undeserved fairness I treated the left with. I have been too tolerant of their violence, and I've been too tolerant of their style of thinking, and I've been too much willing to work with them to preserve their feelings. No more. Displayed a real gun, got rid of the toy. supported the U.S. Constitution harder, called out their bullcrap. No more. I am no longer ashamed to say that I am against the left's nonsense. I'm no longer going to try to play center man. I'm going to support my ideals, and if you call me right-wing for it, you're free to do so. The further you go left, the more right-wing I'll seem, and that's fine. I don't like the idea of wings. I don't like the idea of parties. I think we should all just be people, individuals, because I'm a very firm libertarian-style thinker. But that's just what it's going to have to be from now on. So that's this retraction video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a safe and pleasant day. And if you're out there on the left, do not do anything to hurt anyone. Do not advocate for violence. Do not celebrate violence even as a joke. Do not perpetuate your culture. You are the ones who say it's wrong to even have a small utterance against someone because it's a microaggression, it supports violence. Then you make videos where you dance and cheer as a man's blood is being cleaned up off the pavement and his family is being told they'll never see him again. You're disgusting. You're a disgrace. You're a threat to everything our country stands for. Stop it. Left-wing media, stop verbalizing out loud that everyone on the right is some danger to democracy and they need to be taken out. Stop playing with toy guns in which you shoot dolls of Donald Trump. Stop supporting violence. You are controlled by a single organization. You should be held responsible for what you have said, the lies you've told, and the things you have done. And I have no fear in saying this. Not anymore. All I want to do is play with my trains. And I think that is actually in danger from this. I think my ability to just play with my trains, write a goofy story on my other YouTube channel, and do just the things I find fun and offer entertainment to others is now under threat. So no more. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a pleasant day. Be safe out there. It's a crazy world. And with that, I will say bye-bye.